Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to the Tekken 8 Beginner's Guide. Today we're looking at Nina Williams. So Nina is a very interesting character in Tekken 8 because she's a very difficult character at a high level and is very complicated. She's one of those characters where every Nina player you play against will use a completely different set of moves, as she just has so many different moves and strings for different situations. She's very difficult to play at a high level because she has very high execution demands for optimal damage and wall carry. But for this video, I'm just going to be focusing on the very basics of this character. Enough for you to get an understanding of the character and start out with her if you're new, but you'll have to seek more resources for more in-depth aspects of the character. I'm not even going to try and learn her butterfly loop for this video. But anyway, let's talk a little bit more about Nina. So, Nina is a fairly all-around character, but she excels in using her speed and her strong mix-up based strings to create pressure and score counter hits. And then after those counter hits, use her insane wall carry to get high damage. She's very aggressive and very strong at point blank range because of all her plus frames and all of her strings. She kind of struggles at a distance though and has pretty below average keep out game. Anyway, as a reminder, as always, this guide is meant specifically for beginners. If you haven't seen my full Tekken 8 guide, I suggest you go watch that before watching this video if you're brand new, as that will cover basically everything you need to know to start learning characters in this game. Anyway, let's begin. So, here we are in game. You'll have to excuse the rage art thing at the bottom. Basically, there's no practice mode in the demo, as you guys know, so I'm doing this just so I have access to a dummy with infinite time, just to show you guys what I'm talking about here. So, Nina, let's begin. We're going to start with poke options, and then we'll go to launchers, counter hits, more strings, and everything like that. So, her jab. Very standard jab, just one. You press one to get it. 10 frames. Pretty good range, actually. It seems like all the jabs in Tekken 8 have gotten a little bit of a range buff. +1 on block, obviously all jabs are, so very useful tool to throw out to regain your turn. Especially with Nina, because plus frames are going to be very important for her kit to keep her pressure loops going on. So yeah, our jab, she can follow it up with a 2 for a second hit, so 1-2, obviously it's high, or 1-4 for a kick. They're both safe on block, but not super recommended to use, mainly just because, again, high strings generally aren't the greatest, because if your opponent does know, they'll block and they'll launch you. But it's something worth knowing. Her 1-2 can actually be cancelled by a sidestep to make it much more safe on block and on hit. So if you're going to use the 1-2 just for the pressure, you can hold sidestep immediately after. Oops, you can hold sidestep like this, and it makes it very good on block. So definitely something worth noting there. Her down forward 1. Pretty generic down forward 1. Like most characters, you mix this in with your jab, so you're jabbing for plus frames, you think they're going to duck, we use the down forward 1. And her down forward 1 also has a couple follow-ups. So after down forward 1, you can press 2 for another high, and immediately after that 2, press either 1+2 or 4. So down forward 1, 2, 1+2, you get a strong mid, or down forward 1, 2, 4, and you get a safe high. And that's going to be a theme with a lot of Nina's strings. You'll either have a very strong mid option or a very safe high option that can be ducked, which is kind of like her 50-50 when it comes to her strings. Forward 2, this is a great move on block with a lot of follow-ups. Decent range as well. So, after pressing the forward 2, you can press 1 for a safe 2-hit string. This is completely safe and your opponent won't be able to punish you, and you'll have access to a couple extra mix-ups as always. So after pressing forward 2, 1, we can press 3 for a full combo and a full launch, or we can press 4 for a standard safe high kick. Completely safe. They can duck it, but just your mix-up if you want to go for safety. And as you can see, the launcher we get from this by pressing 3 is very evasive. And she'll get this on a lot of her strings where if you know your opponent likes to press out of your strings, we just do forward 2, 1, 3, and boom, we get damage. So let's continue. Down 2 is a very strong and very fast low poke. It's not really seeable. It gives +5 on hit and is actually only -12 on block, so not launch punishable. And it has a couple follow-ups. Has a mid follow-up by pressing 2. It's a full knockdown, so this is very good to press 2 after for opponents who you think are going to stay crouched. And it gives a full launch on counter hit. Not bad, right? And the follow-up is only -12, so you'll normally only eat around 30 damage if they block this second hit. Very strong option, and a lot of new players won't even punish this. Down back 3, another quick low poke, only -13, and gives a knockdown into a free forward 1+2 on counter hits. Decent low poke. Back 3-4. Back 3-4 is a very common move that Nina players like to use. It's a safe mid-high natural string with the second hit launching on counter hit. Again, if they press, you get a full combo. If your opponent doesn't know to duck the second hit, they're going to eat this. It's safe, so you're not taking any risk. And yeah, you'll just get a ton of damage if they actually do press out of this. So another string worth noting. Quarter circle forward 1. Very strong move in this game. So it is a high poke, but this actually gives +1 on block. So if your opponent blocks it, you have the advantage. It's like a jab. And it additionally in Tekken 8 now deals chip damage. So normally you need rage to get your moves to do chip damage, but not this one. This one will automatically do chip damage. So you're getting a huge benefit. Plus frames and chip damage, and it is a counter hit launcher. So if they press, you get a full combo. One of Nina's strongest moves for sure. Very, 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 very strong. 1-4, standard. Mix up. This is a mid-mid string. Nina doesn't actually have a lot of mid-mid strings, so it's definitely worth noting. It's this little kick thing. 2 hits, mid-mid, safe on block. So yeah, when you know your opponent is trying to crouch your second hits of your strings, you can use this to catch them off guard. Back 4, decent high poke. Good range, very good range, and gives this little nosebleed effect. See how he walks back holding his nose for big plus frames. And on counter hit, you get plus 12, meaning you can get a free back 2-2 or back 1-4 for extra damage. Something worth noting, right? Sidestep 1. This is a very, very strong move, as it allows you to cancel its end lag into a back sway or a crouch dash, which basically gives you massive frames on block. So you press sidestep 1, and then you do a quarter circle back input. This makes this insanely safe. You can also just press back twice, I think. Yeah, so sidestep 1, back twice. This makes this move basically like, I think it's plus on block, like plus 10 or something. Like, and you get insane plus frames if you know what you're doing with this. So this is essential because, again, Nina's whole game plan, she's pressuring you up close, using her strings, and then once she's done her strings, she wants to get back, like she wants her turn back as fast as possible. And this is good for just like looping your pressure and just keeping everything going. So yeah, very, very good move. You'll see Nina players will often like sidestep cancel her strings. We'll get into it later, but a lot of her strings can be sidestep canceled, and then they'll cancel into this just to keep going. They'll crouch dash forward, and then it's still your turn. You have a ton of time to press more buttons. Forward 1+2 is a move that Nina players really like to use, especially in low level. It's a power crushing heat engager. So as you can see, brings you into heat, has full power crush, so if your opponent presses any moves, it'll go right through. Besides lows, of course, lows beat power crush. So yeah, when you know your opponent's going to press a button, it's a very good move you can use. Lots of knockback, very good at the wall. It's unsafe, -14, so some characters can launch it. So you have to kind of like learn which characters are able to punish you really, really heavily for using this. Definitely don't want to be throwing it around against characters who do have 14 frame punishers. You can also heat dash, as you saw there. Not a move to throw around a ton though. So let's talk about some launchers and some single hit moves. So up forward 1, safe launcher that brings her into the air. Meaning, if you know your opponent wants to use a low, you can use this move and it'll completely evade. Has full low crush. This is a pretty evasive move, and this is a great launcher overall. Forward 3, this is an incredibly strong move when used properly. This is a 2-hit high kick that gives +3 on block. Very, very, very strong. While both hits can obviously be ducked because it is a double high, this is something you want to start throwing out when you know your opponent isn't ducking very often. And if they don't know the matchup, this is a very good tool to use. And the best part about it is it's also a full counter hit launcher, one of her most damaging counter hit launchers. So if you know your opponent likes to press, you can throw it out, and boom, you get a full combo. And this is one of Nina's most deadliest combos. With wall, as you can see there, that's without wall. We're stewing over half of their life. So very, very, very good move. And again, +3 on block. What's not to like, right? Down forward 2, pretty standard, kind of like Paul's down forward 2. Good move for keep out. This is a safe launcher, mid launcher, so if you know your opponent likes to duck, you can throw this out. Relatively easy to use, has some high crush, and of course, get a full combo out of it. Quarter circle back 4 is a great launcher that a lot of Nina players like, mainly because of its range. If you whiff something, if your opponent whiffs something and like you get a dodge, like you backdash, you can use this to like you can convert off of it. Very good move, and it's only -13, so you can't be fully launched for it, but you will take some damage, so you want to be a little bit careful with it. Sidestep 2, launcher, has full high crush. Very, very, very good option. It is -14, but a lot of new players will struggle to punish this. This is the main move you want to use after sidestepping a big move. So if you know your opponent's going to go for something, sidestep, boom, and you convert off of it. Now, there's a couple things that you can do with this move. So as we'll get into later, a lot of her moves revolve around sidestep canceling. So you do like a down forward 1-2 and you cancel into a sidestep. And you can do this to catch people off guard. Just one of your other options. Nina has a lot of really, really great options out of her sidestep cancels because it just gives so much plus frames. So up forward 2-1. This is a full launcher that a lot of people don't know about. Very, very strong move and leads to very high damage. It's also kind of evasive, 2-hit launcher. A lot of people won't expect it and they'll let go of their block on the second hit, and you get your combo. Down 3 is a very popular low that Nina players like to use. Down 3-2 is just a basic string. It's a -11 mid option. This used to launch. Unfortunately, it no longer launches in Tekken 8. And the string that most Nina players like to go for after down 3 is, so down 3, 4, 3. This is a 3-hit combo that ends with a mid. This is safe. This is completely safe if your opponent does block it. And if the down 3 is a counter hit, because it is high crushing as well, so if they press anything, this whole thing becomes guaranteed, and you get a quick 50 damage. Very good move to use out for high crush when you know your opponent's like spamming jab or something. Forward forward 2, pretty simple, high, safe, and gives a guaranteed forward forward 3 afterwards for extra damage. Knockdown, you can start your Oki. Well, it's not to like, right? Some other good moves. Up forward 4-3. This is a high-low string, kind of gimmicky, but a lot of Nina players like to use this, especially at the end of the last round, just because they're not really expecting it. High-low. If they do block the low, it's very unsafe, so you got to be careful. But it's something worth noting. While standing 4, a lot of people don't know much about this move. It's a very gimmicky move. It just looks like a standard one at first, but there's a couple of follow-ups that a lot of Ninas will like to use to cheese people. So if they press while standing 4 and then press 2, you'll roll into a 1+2 automatically. So once you press 2, it's automatic. You can't stop it. And it's very evasive. So a lot of people will get hit by this and then try and press. You roll over, evade what they're doing, and you get a free forward 1+2. And you also have a high option. So if you do while standing 4 into 3, you get a safe high. Down 4, standard low poke with a high follow-up of 1 that is neutral on block. And you can sidestep cancel all of this. So if you press down 4 for the low poke, and then 1, you can sidestep. You can actually sidestep to cancel the 1. So you can press 1, and you get a lot of mix-up. So you can use this, and your opponent thinks you're going to go for the follow-up, but sidestep into launch. A lot of ways to mix your opponent up here. Down back 4 is another low of hers. It's very tricky and weird. As you can see, if you hit it, it's actually -9 on block, but it brings her to the floor, which is not what you want. So you counteract this with a couple of follow-ups. If you press 3 immediately after, you go into your full launcher. So down back 4 into 3, very evasive. A lot of people will hold crouch and they'll just get hit by this. Definitely a very good option. Down back 3+4 is a move Nina players like a lot. High crushing launcher, a ton of range, and you get a ton of damage off the combo from it. So yeah, down back 3+4, high crushing, evasive. It's a high, but again, pretty safe, worth going for. Down forward 3, another very good move that leads to a lot of strings. You can press down forward 3, 1-2 for a string that's guaranteed on counter hit and does a ton of damage. Unsafe though, but in my opinion, the best option to do is down forward 3 into 2. This 2 leads to a whole new set of options. If you just do down forward 3-2, you just get +1 on block, which is great by itself. But again, you get your typical mix-up. So if you do down forward 3-2 sidestep, you can cancel it and get a ton of plus frames. If you do down forward 3-2-3, you get full launch. If you do down forward 3-2-4, you get your safe high. So 3 mix-ups here. You can sidestep cancel, and then you can do a while standing 2. Or sorry, you can do a sidestep 2. You have a ton of options. You can be very creative with this stuff. In terms of homing, once your opponent starts sidestepping, we have back 2, which is bad by itself, but we can do a string. If you do back 2-2-2, it's a 3-hit string, all high, so it can be ducked, but this is safe on block, and a lot of people won't be expecting it. And her better one is down forward 2. The only bad thing about this move is that it's pretty slow to start up, but it's completely safe on block. It's mid, it tracks to both sides. Obviously, it's a tracking move. It no longer counter hit launches in this game, which is actually pretty unfortunate, but it does give you a +11, so you can get a free 1-2 after it. Full crouch 4 or down forward 4, it's the same move, just different ways of inputting it. This is a move Nina players really like. Kind of slow, but does give a full launch on counter hit, so when you know your opponent's going to go for a high, obviously it has full high crushing. You can throw this out, just be careful with it, because if they do block it, you're going to take a lot of damage. Forward 1+2 is a move that a lot of people don't really talk about. It's relatively safe on block, I think, and you can actually charge it up. So when your opponent starts respecting you, it's a very good power mid. You can charge it up. If you do charge it all the way, it's very safe on block, very safe on block. And it knocks them back a lot. You get a wall splat at the wall. Great move. Quarter circle forward 2+3 is a safe on block heat engager. Very strong move in this game. Very good move to throw out. Quarter circle forward 3, if you hold it, is like a low poke. She'll kind of jump forward. This can be good for closing the distance and just getting the final hit. A little bit gimmicky, but whatever. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about her punishment. She is pretty standard punishment. It's actually not the greatest, but it's whatever. Her 10 frame punish is her 1-4. Her 11 frame punish is her new heat engager, which is another one we haven't talked about. Down back 1+2, 2 hit, strong damage, and you go into heat. Very, 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 very good. Her 12 frame will be back 1-4. Her 14 frame is forward 3. Probably not worth going. It'd be better to go for one of the other options. And her 15 frame is a full launcher and down forward 2. Her crouching punishment, 10 frame is just a simple 1, dick jab. 11 frame is her while standing 4, which again, as we talked about earlier, has a lot of like really gimmicky mix-ups. 13 frame is either while standing 1+2, or while standing 3, which you get a little animation, and you get a side switch. And her 15 frame is while standing 2, and you get a full launch. Grabs. So for grabs, Nina has a very, very good grab game. A lot of people don't use grabs on her, even though she wants to be up close. So she has multiple grabs for all 3 breaks. I'll just tell you the ones I use, but there's a lot of options here. Down forward 1+3 as my main 1 break. I use down forward 2+4 as my main 2 break. Does a lot of damage. And then I use up forward 1+2 as my main 1+2 break. But she has a lot of throws that are like different variations of this, and some of them wall splat, some of them just do like extra damage. She has some unbreakable ones. There's a lot of stuff to look into here. And that's kind of the good thing about Nina. There's so much to learn. I've only covered the bare basics, and I'm sure there's a ton of stuff I actually missed. So feel free to leave in the comments any important stuff. I'll make a pinned comment of all the stuff I missed and any corrections or whatnot. But this is just like give you a basic idea of what kind of character she is. She's definitely not the greatest character for beginners, but if you do like her, go ahead and play her. You'll see a lot of success in rank just using some of this stuff, because it's so like you need to know the matchup. There's a lot of like weird gimmicks here for like plus frames, but yeah. And as you get better in the game, your Nina will just get better. Eventually you can start learning the stuff like butterfly loops for very, very good combo damage, high execution. Maybe I'll make a guide on it one day, but I have to learn it myself, and I don't really want to learn that because there's a lot to this character. But anyway, that's going to be about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to subscribe. I've got a lot more beginners Tekken 8 content coming. And yeah, with that, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.